A lot of y'all have been asking me to help you. I have over 450 DMs of people who want my help. I didn't know how to help all of you until now. I have joined VidSig, V-I-D-S-I-G. You can download the app now and schedule time for me to break bread with you. I can give you advice on your business, whether you're trying to get into the music business, whatever the business is. I believe I have the knowledge and the know-how to at least give you some consultation and some support where you need it to help your business grow. And I'm not just another celebrity on VidSig. I am now the chief creative consultant for VidSig. So I will be bringing others like me onto the platform to help you. So join VidSig, join me, and join the community. That's V-I-D-S-I-G. Download the app today.
What's up, guys? Today we are here with the Bruetta tea tumbler. They recently called me and they said, Austin, it's perfect for coffee too. So that's what we're gonna do today. Touch water on the kettle, and I start out with 19 grams of whole bean coffee. Everyone's favorite sound in the morning. With most coffee makers, you have to have a funnel like a V60 with filters, or you have to have a French press or a Chemex, and all of that is expensive. It's complicated, but with the Bruetta, all you have to do is you add your grounds right into the cup. And then with their fine mesh strainer here, acts as a French press for you. So after your water finishes heating up, all you have to do, add it straight in. And you're ready to go. Is there a way to end a coffee commercial? No? Okay.
One, two, three.
And now, everybody, MC Serch. MC Serch. MC Serch. MC Serch. MC Serch.
Serch will never stand still.
Yes, yes. Party people in the place to be. Your dreams have now been fulfilled. It's the other white meat. Well, the other white meat. It's your boy MC Serch. Welcome to another edition of the Serch Says podcast. I'm your host, MC Serch. Welcome. Before we get this amazing show rolling, gotta know I gotta just show some love to the sponsor, Bruetta Tea. The greatest tea to come out of the natty ever. Bruetta Tea. If you want to have this amazing tea like Tamika Catchings and Afiva have, or if you want it in your restaurant, or if you want it in your office, because offices are opening again, so make sure you contact them at Bruetta, BRUETTA.com, Bruetta.com. They are amazing, wonderful, beautiful people who support this amazing, wonderful, beautiful show. Shout out to my people. Speaking of amazing people, when there was a transition on this kooky little show called The Daily Show that I have been a fan of for years, a gentleman came on the scene that I did not know anything about. I quickly became a fan of this dude because he was funny as hell. But not only funny as hell, he had a sensibility about him that made me realize he was, as we call around the way, ahead. Now, some of y'all might take that in a sexual context. If that's your perversion, I can't help you. For dudes around my way, ahead is someone that has a ethical and philosophical feeling about living their life according to the ethos of how hip-hop impacted their life, both politically, musically, and economically. And I just felt a kinship with this dude, even though I never met him. His Black History Month with the pipe, he reminded me of my pops, except a little darker. He was funny, but more importantly, he had a message. And I'm glad he's here to share his message today. Ladies and gentlemen, dare I say the incomparable Roy Wood Jr. Roy Wood Jr. is joining us. Salute, sir.
What's
The
happening?
official salute. Not the Donald Trump bullshit one when he was like, you know, I want to, yeah, I'm gonna, yeah. You know how he had the flimsy kind of like, no, I'm giving you the full to the brim salute, sir.
I appreciate
Thank you,
that,
brother.
OG.
Thank you
for having me on this situation, man. I'm
No,
happy
man,
to be
this
here
is,
and chop it up with you.
Yeah, no, this is an official shit. You know, this is official like a ref with a whistle. This is not you and your boys smoking bleezies in some parking lot at Walmart doing a podcast. This is official.
I knew this was the good shit when I saw you got the background lights. I said, man, I need to get me some background lights.
Yeah, well, you know, I got the background lights. Yeah, I got the Run DMC, you know, chain. I got JMJ over my shoulder looking over me from above. Got the A train. You know, I got a whole shebang, bro. I gotta impress. I gotta impress people like you. Who impress people like me.
A Clay Davis bobblehead and a baseball signed by Ernie Banks, who used to work with my pops back in the day. That's all I got.
Was your dad like a broadcaster? Was your dad like involved in broadcasting back in the day? Is that how you got your love for that?
That's how I got it in my DNA. I would say Stuart Scott and
R.I.P.
Oh, it's a couple of cats, but Stuart Scott. There was this brother that was on CNN SI named Fred Hickman. Those two guys, because I like sports. My dad was a civil rights journalist, so he covered everything in the struggle from Rhodesian Civil War. He was in Soweto during the riots in the 50s. He was embedded with Black Vietnam battalions. The way they were treating Black people in Vietnam and sending them in first wave into all of the shit. My pops was right beside them boys covering that. Then started covering, everything that was happening back home, with the civil rights movement and everything. So, in terms of being a shit starter and trying to fight for what's right, that was in the DNA. But growing up, you grew up around that shit, man. Like, you either gonna swim in it or you gonna try and go the opposite direction. So I tried to go the opposite direction. I knew I was funny, and Stuart Scott talked about sports, which I loved, and he was funny. So I go, all right, well, what do I need to major in to do that? And it was like broadcast journalism. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, fuck it. I guess that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be like motherfucking Stuart Scott and Robin Roberts and Fred Hickman, and I'm going to just fucking do journal. And then as my comedy started growing, that's as you get older, your eyes start awakening to everything that's happening around you. That's when I was like, all right, we got to start talking about some shit on stage and change it up. But, I started young. I started at 19, bro. So you talk about what you know at 19, which for me was my fucking book buyback at the bookstore and, your roommates eating your food. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have no perspective on the world. I hadn't done shit yet.
Yeah, but hip hop gave you a little bit of a perspective, and you utilized a lot of that early on as well, right?
Yeah, when I look back at the type of hip hop that I gravitated towards, it was message driven. Like, for me it was NWA and Ghetto Boys. Like, those were the two cassettes. Ghetto Boys Till Death Do Us Part. I can't even tell you how many times my mama took that one and sliced it up and would, you ain't gonna listen to this in the Jesus house. And then I would go right back to school with another $10, and I would pay Ahmed Roach to burn me a dub and bring me back one of them. And Ahmed was cool because he was the dude, in middle school and shit, everybody had the one person that was in charge of making the mixtapes for the school. But if there was a little bit of time left on the tape, he would throw in a couple of extra tracks. See, like, the Ghetto Boys, you still had 20 minutes left on a 90-minute TDK.
Right.
So he would add extra tracks on the back end, and that's how I started discovering all of this other stuff that was going on, man. And, it wasn't anything against New York hip-hop at the time, but it wasn't as accessible. They would play the hits, but a lot of the New York stuff that made it down south was more uplifting. The gritty shit was usually Southern or it was West Coast. And so that was the stuff that, I don't know, man, that's just kind of what I gravitated towards at the time.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I remember, it's very funny that you mentioned Ahmed. That was my homeboy. His name too, Ahmed Brandon. Ahmed Brandon was
Anybody
my dude.
named Ahmed got the mixtapes. Bro.
Yo, and not only he had the mixtapes, he had the bag, and he knew where the biddies were. He always knew. My man Ahmed always knew where the fine ass biddies were. And it was actually Ahmed and my man Otis were the reasons that I met Zev Love X, later KMD, later MF Doom. So that was my people's back then. And I think you and I are pretty close in age. So back in the South also, it was very hard to not only find certain hip hop, but also have clubs that allowed it to play at certain times, right? So you definitely incorporated a lot of that into your comedy. I heard certain people talk about you had a very funny Ghetto Boy joke back in the day when you were coming up about Bushwick Bill.
Oh, I don't remember the Bushwick story, but I do remember Jay Prince. I've told this story before, the one about, they might be talking about the time I prank called Jay Prince.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
Yeah. What were you thinking about? Can you like just set up the story? Why did you prank call Jay Prince of all people? Because
when I give you the story, it'll make sense, and you'll
then
understand,
I will be quiet.
And you would have done the exact same thing.
I don't.
So
I disagree fully, knowing who Jay Prince is. So go ahead. I will let you tell your story.
So I knew who Jay was. I knew of him. You know, I knew him from all the Ghetto Boy intros and the Larry Hoover, conversations that they would have at the top of all the Ghetto Boy, the interludes with Larry or whatever. And so I started doing morning radio. I get out of Florida A&M. I get back home 2001. I start doing morning radio, and I start doing prank phone calls. And so this is pre-YouTube. This is like 01, 02. And we had a guy at the radio station. This story is a little long, but I just want to lay all the pieces in place so you can understand. So we had a guy at the radio station who wouldn't put my prank calls on the station's website. And I go, nigga, I do all this work to get one good prank call. You got to do 4. That's 3 suck. One person won't sign the fucking waiver. So you get one, and it would play at one time, and that was it. And it's never to be heard again. And I go, bro, this is new shit. It's the internet. Put this shit up. Nah, we don't do that at the station. We don't put audit, which is crazy considering the way radio fucking loves digital content now.
Oh, now, yeah, it's crazy. In fact, they'll throw you to the digital content before they throw you live.
Bro.
And where were you you were in Montgomery, right? Were you in Montgomery?
This is Birmingham.
Sorry.
So,
yeah.
So
was Mickey Johnson your program director at the time, by the way?
Mickey fucking Johnson from Miami, Florida. You fucking right he was. That was my fucking boss. We're cool now. I was mad at Mickey at the time because the nigga wouldn't give me 29 hours so I could get dinner. They paid me 28, and I needed a root canal. It take Mickey to tell the story. I quit the station for like 3 months. I was so
Hey, brother,
mad
I'll get Mickey on here right now. I used to work with Mickey Johnson, bro. I used to work on records back in the day before I went to JLB.
Me.
I know.
Mickey Johnson hired me, bro, 2001, fresh out of FAMU. So I set up my own website. I put my pranks on the website. I plugged my website. This is back when going viral meant you went viral over email. So your homie would just send you a file attachment and go download this. And you would. Like, it was just raw sex over email. Like you wouldn't download shit somebody sent you now. If you don't, you would call them first and go, what is this? Why did you send? So my pranks start going viral. My website keeps crashing because I don't have enough bandwidth. So I get the idea to take my pranks and send them to other radio stations in cities that I wasn't performing stand-up in. So you send your tape to a comedy club and go, yo, fuck with me. They won't fuck with you. But if you send them a resume and go, I'm on the radio in this market, I can help you advertise, now they fuck with you. So I identified all the radio stations that didn't have a morning show, that they just had a local jock in the mornings. I go, yo, play my shit, say my name. Just do that, and please get me out there. So the prank calls start growing. I get a CD. The CD drops. It fucking does numbers. Just regionally. I'm on consignment. You know the drill. I'm driving to record stores every Monday to pick up my bread and drop off product, wash, rinse, repeat every week. And so the product starts growing, and what I started noticing was that rappers in Birmingham and Atlanta, they were taking my pranks and they were clipping them and putting them as comedy interludes on their mixtapes. And I wasn't mad at the shit. I was just like, wow, how can I get ahead of this? How can I control this so that I can connect with them, so that they know it's me, so that I can get credit, so that I can grow. While I was in Tallahassee in school, I met a brother by the name of TJ Chapman. And so TJ Chapman ran TJ's DJs, which was the premier record pool. I don't know if it was for the whole East Coast, but in the South, every quarter, every DJ in the South got together and would just spin records for each other and go, this is what's hot where I'm from, what's hot where you're from. All right, I'm going to play some of that too. And they would just fucking swap out vinyls and shit. So I go to TJ, and we had forged a relationship because when I was in college, I wrote album reviews for some of his artists at the time. He had artists on Wild Style Records or whatever. So I go to TJ, I go, hey man, can I come to the record pool and put my prank call CD in everybody's grab bag? It's like 400 or 500 DJs. They all leave with a grab bag or whatever. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I don't think prank calls are funny, but you know, you a hustler and I respect you. If they think it's funny, more power to them. So he gives me a fucking lanyard. He lets me get into the record pool. And I go around the club all night. These DJs in there chilling, they drinking, they having a good time. And I'm in there with a fucking stack of greenbacks that I done burnt down on my HP Packard 5500 printer. And I'm print the labels, burning them down on Roxio Easy CD Creator, all that shit. And I'm dropping them in bags. 3 months go by, I don't hear shit. Chameleonaire drops Mixtape Messiah 3. And on Mixtape Messiah 3, he put my fucking pranks. And he put my fucking name. Mixtape Messiah 4 drops. Cam shows love again. So now my shit is buzzing around Houston. And I end up on a couple of like random, I don't know if these were authorized or not, but my name was on them. So I was like fucking cool. Some unauthorized like Pimp C, UGK, screw tape, niggas and screwed my calls, all this shit. I'm fucking ecstatic, bro. Because you've gone from just being the shit in Birmingham, I'm all the way in Houston. I'm not performing in Houston at this point. Houston's like Miami. It's for superstars and locals. So I'm building my profile. I get a call from this record label in Houston. They call me up and they go, hey man, we've heard your pranks all over the scene here and we want to give you money to do a celebrity prank call album with our label. Now at this point, I'm on my second prank call album and I don't have no official sound scan because I'm consignment, but I've got the numbers. I got all the, the sales sheets and all that. I'm solid, bro. I'm solid. Anywhere where I got radio for a comedy album, I'm killing them. I'm not selling neck and neck with goddamn 50 Cent and Ja Rule and anybody, but you get what I'm saying. Like for that era at that time, for a comedy album to be physical copies to be sold, I'm moving numbers, bro. So this record label, I ain't never seen no real money like this before, Serch. And it wasn't a lot of bread. Like it was maybe like, I don't know, the advance was maybe like 25,000 against album sales on the back after they recoup. 25,000 for a nigga driving a Ford Focus, sleeping in a twin bed at his fucking mama's apartment while he trying to make it as a comedian, only getting 28 hours a week, no dental at the radio station? Yes. Yes, give me that. Give me that fucking bread.
That Wonder Loaf? You wanted that Wonder Loaf?
Nigga, a year before,
yep,
like 2 years before the prank started taking off, I went to a gig and did not have the fucking gas money to get home. The gig was the gas money to get home, and the fucking gig canceled, bro. And You know how it is when you tired of borrowing money. You tired of asking people for a fucking dime. You tired of going to Western Union with your head low because the nigga on the other side of the counter at Western Union be judging you while they slide the money to you.
Yo, why do they do that? It's not even.
I
it's
don't
not
know.
Even, yo, why do
It ain't
they
your
purposely?
bread, bitch.
Yo, is that like one of their job requirements? Can you imagine? Like that's one of the. Please do that as like when you get back into the studio with like with like Trevor and all those. Do a skit on that. Like, please, during
Payday
Black History
advance,
Month, the history
all that
of
shit,
Western
bro.
Union, and then show like a general manager. Like, now listen, when you are giving the money, make sure that when you hand the money over, you are sarcastic and you are judging them. Let me see your judge face. Let me, please, yeah. I need to,
Bro.
and can I see your gas face, please? Oh, you have a gas receipt? Here's your gas face. I am judging you.
It was so demeaning. I remember going to Kinko's and fabricating pay stubs so I could get payday loans, which I was basically fronting myself bread that I had to pay back on the backside with the gigs.
Right. You were the
just get
first
tired of that
mascot.
shit.
You were the first mascot. Wow. Good for you, bro. But good for
Tired
you
of
to,
that shit,
to work
bro.
through that.
You fucking sleeping in a car at a truck stop trying to figure out how the fuck you gonna get gas money to get home, and you wake up the next day and go do temp service work. You go do day labor the next morning just so you can get home.
Wow.
Tired of that shit. So yeah, when a nigga call up with 25,000 up front and go, all you got to do is prank call Jay Prince, Lil Flip, and Vince Young, and we'll figure out the rest of the celebrities later.
Wow.
I'm with it. So I hop on the plane and I go to Houston. I land in Houston, I don't know, 9, 10 in the morning, and it's straight to the studio. Because we only, the other thing is that we only had like 3 days or so to knock it out. Because radio wasn't going to let me stay that long. You don't need a long time to do a bunch of pranks. We're pranking celebs, so we know what the business is. They're still establishing the list of celebrities or whatever, but they knew for sure they had Jay Prince, Vince Young, and Lil Flip. And they go, which one do you want to do first? Now, what I always learned with prank calls was you do the hardest prank call first at the top of the day when you're your freshest and your improv skills are popping, because it makes everything else easy. So let's call Jay Prince. And I asked the engineer, I go, nigga, are you sure this is cool? Oh, yes, we know Jay. We do lots of business with him and our label. And all right.
Was this an elderly black man that you were talking to?
No, I don't know. White of some sort.
He was white of some sort, because the only people that I know that
I don't know.
the only people that talk like that are either
black.
Okay, that's fine. I just needed clarification because the only people that I know that talk like that are engineers are either old black men or old Jewish men. And I wanted to be a little bit racist when I asked first. So anyway, continue your story.
He was not black.
Okay.
I know that much.
Right.
And they go, we know him. It'll be fine. When we call him, everything will be cool.
It'll be fine. Don't worry. We know Jay Prince.
Cool. Yeah. So we call Jay. And all I know of this man is what I know from Ghetto Boys interludes. He's calm. He's cool. He speaks real slow. So he's not going to give me anything energetic. So how do you stir up someone like that? And prank calls are very simple. If you listen to prank calls psychologically, the idea is to make either an impossible request that I know you cannot grant, and the comedy comes from yes, no, yes, no. You can, I can't. You can, I can't. You can. That's the comedic vehicle. Impossible request, or insult something that you hold dear, be it your kids, your looks, your car, your girlfriend, your spouse. Insult something that you cherish, and that will incite a response. So the prank call premise was this. I was going to call Jay Prince, posing as a mom and pop record store owner who wanted his money back because none of the new Rap-A-Lot artists was selling in my store. And I've bought all of these CDs and they're not selling. And I want you to come give me my money back. I'm not carrying no more Rap-A-Lot in my store. And so I get that out of my mouth. Jay Prince processes it. He's digesting. And then he just goes, "Where you at?" And I go, "What? Don't worry about where I'm at. Motherfucker, you need to worry about where my money at." I'm just going off on this nigga. And Jay Prince goes, "Well, you say this is a problem about business. I discuss business in person. So where you at?" "Don't worry about it." I look over at the engineer. This motherfucker is frozen, and he's not laughing anymore. He's not laughing. Like, he's like a little tremble, slight tremble. And that's when I knew I was in trouble. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is not going the right way. Jay Prince again. "Are you there?" "Yeah, I'm here. What you gonna do?" "I'm gonna bring you your money. Since you want your money, tell me where you at." And the guy, the producer or whatever, he jumps on the microphone. He goes, hey, Jay, it's us. We were just pranking you. This guy is Roy. He's a comedian. He's really funny. We were just doing a prank call. We were just playing. Nothing's wrong. Jay Prince takes a deep breath. He goes, "Oh, you over there with Charles. I know exactly where you at. Hey, man, turn the car around." Click, and he hangs it up. So now the engineer, this nigga is full-blown shaking because Jay Prince has basically announced that he's on his way to the studio. And I'm looking around, and everybody is, like, in a different mood. And I was like, oh, this motherfucker's on his way for real, isn't he? No, come on. Let's knock him out. Let's keep going. Want to call Vince Young? I said, no. You know what, man? Give me 5 minutes, man. I went to the bathroom and I pretend to take a piss, and I'm walking through the scenarios in my head. And mind you, at this point in comedy, I've never performed in Houston. So I have no people. I have nobody that could vouch. I have nobody that could look out for me. And you don't go into another city and talk shit when ain't somebody there to fucking have your back and at least maybe try and quell the situation. I have nobody. And as far as I'm concerned, this nigga is on his way. He's on his way to end my life over a prank call. This is not worth $25,000. And I called a cab. And I got my luggage. And I went back to Bush Intercontinental Airport. And I flew back to Birmingham. I was in Houston a total of probably 3 hours. From baggage claim to checking back in for the return flight. 3 hours. Fast forward to when Jay Prince dropped his autobiography and he's on a media tour. And I just threw that Twitter feed up because it just made me laugh. And I figured enough time had passed. Jay ends up on Sway's show.
Mm-hmm.
And Sway fucking asked Jay Prince about the shit. He goes, "Do you remember a guy prank phone calling you, blah, 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 blah. Were you really headed to the studio?" And Jay Prince smiled and rubbed his chin and just said, "I just wanted to laugh with him." Which is exactly what a motherfucker who's going to fuck up your life would say. But he came through the Daily Show, man. We chopped it up. It's all love. But that was, I don't know. That's the one time I flew too close to the sun with them prank calls. But do you understand the hunger that drove that irresponsible decision? Like,
Roy.
because people act like I didn't consider all of the. No, of course I considered it, but 25,000.
Yeah, of course. And look, what I love about that story, and I hope that you can appreciate from where I'm coming from, is I started doing radio in 2001 at 92.3 The Beat in Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay.
And I was doing the Saturday Night Searchlight. And I was treating my Saturday night show like a morning show because my goal was I was working I had Searchlight Promotions. So all those TJ's, DJs, records in those bags, I placed them. And anytime Mickey Johnson needed something, I was calling Mickey. Hey, I need you to play this Nas record. I need you to play this T.I. record. Like, that was my hustle.
Yeah.
So Mickey and I are thick as thieves to this day. I know I remember when TJ played me the B.O.B., said, hey, I got this new artist named B.O.B. out of Atlanta. I was in Virginia, and I was one of those people lucky enough to get a Roy Wood CD. And I played several of your bits. One of your bits was about a stripper. I don't know if you remember this, but one of your bits was about a female who was going to school. I think it was at either FAMU or somewhere, but she was a stripper. And you were trying to call it's something about anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I didn't remember the bit enough, but what I did was I augmented the bit.
Love it.
And what I did is I did a bit in Virginia called Call Portia. And my bit live on the air was that Portia was studying at Norfolk State in marketing to get a marketing degree. And how did she pay for this marketing degree at night? She was on the pole in the Clear Hills.
Okay.
And really lovely young lady that a friend of mine and I knew from Virginia, from the 7 cities. One night we get a call, and very, very small, pipsqueak-like voice. And it's a young man, and he is hiding from his parents on his landline. And he's in a closet, and his name was Joe. And Joe was very, very afraid. Very afraid. Because he was told by his mother that masturbation was a sin. And if he ever touched himself, he was going to hell. But there was something about Portia, something about her voice. Just couldn't help himself.
Oh, no.
And Portia, without flipping a beat, said, is your dick hard right now, Joey? Is your dick hard? I want you to grab your dick right now. Play with your dick. Start jerking your dick, baby.
On the radio.
Live on the radio. And me, being the wise ass that I am, I go, do what she says, Joey. Do what she says. And my DJ Stress, is on the floor laughing to the point where I think he might die.
That's
and
the
this
best,
dude,
bro.
and she's like, say my name, baby. Say my name. And he climaxed live on the air screaming Portia.
This is pre-Janet Jackson breast. That's the
Oh, yeah. No,
reason.
this is pre, 2001. This is
FCC,
2001.
Yeah.
Oh,
2
yeah,
years
but
before. So you got this one just in under the wire.
No. No. Trust me, I got a lot in even after that when I went to JLB in Detroit. And so anyway, long story short, this dude screams her name out. It's one of the greatest moments I ever had on radio. And the next day,
Beautiful.
the 7 cities Bible Belt Bible thumpers are ablaze. I am the devil. I am the demon. And that was my catapult to getting my radio show in Detroit, Searching AM with Coco and Foolish. And it was because of this CD that TJ had hooked me up with, and a bunch of different comedy things that I heard from you. And when I went also to JLB, one of my boys who was on the show with my co-host Foolish would talk about your mixtape all the time. And a lot of the bits that we did weren't to, and again, I'm not trying to blow smoke. They weren't exactly because of you, but when we did the dictionary, a lot of it was based on a lot of shit that you did. For example, we did a bit where we were like,
supposed to be.
yeah, of course. One of my personal favorites was we would ask Foolish the definition of words. So you're like, feel foolish. What's the definition of frequent? He's like, frequent. I don't know where that frequent.
Nice.
Right. Anyway,
Nice.
So thank you for your contributions.
Bro.
And thank you for what you did in Alabama.
Cats like TJ Chapman, man. I'm at that point in my career where I can look back at the people that have helped me along the way with literally one simple act or one single yes. And it did leaps and bounds for me. And, you know, what TJ Chapman has done for hip hop, especially in the South, I think is understated, you know, but, you know, it's one of those things I'm always thankful for, is that he let me get those prank CDs in those bags, because it just got in the hands of so many other people. Like, comedy clubs booked me off of that. I was able to eat. Clubs I'm still working to this day because of that. DJs were putting my stuff on the air because of that. Because, like, some DJs wouldn't fuck with my pranks off of me just sending them to them cold, but if I was on a mixtape that was hot in their region, now you're going to put my shit on the air.
Yeah, of course. Did you ever carry a resentment going into those cities, like people that you knew that might have slighted you? Did you feel some type of way when you met them face to face? Did you ever or were you gracious?
For the most part, I was gracious or indifferent. You know, if you don't like me, I'm cool with you not thinking I'm funny. Just don't play me to the left and be disrespectful. And none of them were ever blatantly disrespectful. The only time I've ever really felt disrespected in radio, there was one station in Seattle where I went in to do the morning show that just was
Cube.
not.
Cube, K-U-B,
I'm not gonna name
Cube.
it. I'm not gonna name
Cube
the station.
92.
I'm not
Shelly
gonna say
Hart.
the
It's
year.
okay. It's all right.
I'm not gonna name the station. I'm not
It's
gonna
okay.
name the year.
I know the station. It's okay.
But
All right.
the energy was just wild dismissive. And I know a lot of it. I know the comedy club paid to force them to take that interview, because I didn't have juice yet. But you got this random nigga in your studio and you have to interview me. You have to pretend to be interested. Like, I know how to handle that now, but at the time I didn't. Like, you just need to come in and roast the room. To me, the one comedian that does radio the best is Lavelle Crawford. Bruce a close second. They understand that you're selling yourself not just to the listeners, but to the DJ as well. If the DJ don't know you, whoever the new face is, roast their ass. Or pop, 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 or make fun of yourself. Whatever it is, do something to break the tension in the room. I walked in like this shit was like kindergarten, and I'm sitting at the cool kids table, and they don't know who I am. So there's some things that, you know, I don't know, man. Anger and resentment and that shit is usually a wasted emotion. I'm just gracious and thankful to try and, like, for the people I can't pay back, like a TJ Chapman or some shit, pass it, you know, pay it forward, pay it back, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm trying to say. Just be nice to the next nigga that needs you to give them a yes. Foolish is another one. You want to, here's a story about Detroit. So I was playing, what I used to do to expand my market or whatever, if I had an off night in a region, I would try to go to another city in that region where I wasn't booked, you know, to do a guest set, to do an audition, you know, do a little 5-minute spot.
Smart.
So I'm fucking around in Chicago. Detroit's close enough. I mean, it's not close, but when you're 25.
No, it's 2.5 hours.
You got the stamina. You can knock that out.
Yeah.
So I call over to Coco's House of Comedy on Jefferson.
Yes, sir. Joe Cole.
So I go, what night is open mic? They go, open mic is Monday night. I go, thank you, ma'am. My name is Roy. I would like to be on the list for open mic. You just come down and sign the sheet, baby. Ain't none of that shit. And she hung up in my face. So I show up to open mic. Sign up is at 5 o'clock. The show is at 8. So this is back when I used to wear suits. This is an important detail to the story. And whenever I wore a suit, it made me look older. Because at the time, I was like 23. I weighed a lot less. I was 23. I looked 17. Nobody took me seriously. But the suit helped to age me on stage. So that was my strategy to talk about more adult shit. I do the sign-in sheet. I come back to the club at 7:30. I walk in, and it's fucking open mic rap night. They didn't say that on the fucking phone. I said, I thought it was just open mic. And they go, yeah, for rap. I go, this is a comedy club. You have to add that detail to the website,
Right.
bitch. Why would you? And this is Detroit. This is Detroit. Just to give you the idea, they're filming 8 Mile. The same night 8 Mile is being filmed. They're filming, and I tell you the scene. They're filming the paint gun scene where they're riding down and shooting paint guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm waiting in line, and I see the trailer pass by with Eminem and Mekhi Phifer, Omar Miller, all of them in the car, and they just like throwing up, chunking the deuce at everybody in line or whatever. Man, I go in there, and Foolish comes up to me. I don't even know if you remember this shit. He comes up to me. He goes, "You're Roy?" I go, "Yeah." And on the list, I'm like 5th. He looks at me, looks me up and down, he goes, "You're going to go last." I go, "Why the fuck I got to go last?" "You're going last. I'm putting you up 30th.
30th. Specific math.
He puts me up 30th. And mind you, I'm thinking this is comedy. I'm like, this is pretty rowdy for comedy. These motherfuckers are smoking. Okay, this is really thug. Okay, I got to fucking do my hard material. First nigga goes up, starts freestyling. I go, oh, fuck, it's rap night. It is open mic. You niggas are rapping? But I've driven 4 fucking hours to Detroit, and I don't run from a bomb. That's my own personal policy. You don't know these niggas. They'll never remember you.
Right.
Go up there and get your bomb.
Right.
And Foolish comes over. The 29th niggas on stage, and they like they're back. Like the nigga that was 29th and called out the nigga that was 13th. The 13th nigga that went back up there. Like it's chaos. It's chaos. Like that battle rap shit where you could call out a nigga and then that nigga gets to come back on stage and defend his honor because you called me out. And the 29th dude is on stage and, hey, motherfucker, and I battle and I kill and murder the motherfucker. At this point, Foolish is fucking gone. I don't remember what he was drinking, but he had a lot of them. And he comes over to me slow.
Yo, he sees. Yo, let me tell you something. He's sipping on that brown and he's smoking on them bleezies. That's what he's doing.
Yo, Foolish come over to me slurred as fuck. You still want to go up? I said, yeah, man. I drove from Chicago. Mm-hmm. All right. And I know I'm going to bomb.
Right.
I know I'm going to bomb. He goes on stage. He goes, all right. There was some good battles. This last nigga is from Chicago. I'm like, fuck. I'm not from Chicago. Why would you tell these Detroit niggas that I'm from the Chi? I don't know what to be. Like, that's the cool thing about being from Alabama. Nobody really knows how to feel it. You can assume I'm dumb.
Or you can assume you're David Banner. Like it's one or the other.
Yeah, but there's no instant hate. The South breeds doubt. I doubt you.
Right, but they don't hate you.
They
don't hate you. Right, no, there's no hate.
The moment Foolish says, this nigga's from Chicago.
Yeah.
Give it up. Hey, homie, what you said your name was? And I shout from the side, Roy. It's Roy. Give it up for Roy from the Shy. I'm 2 steps towards the stage, and you know how when you're walking on stage, everything slows down, and you can hear a mouse pin. You can hear a pin, whatever, mouse fart. And I just heard a nigga off in the cut. That nigga ain't from no Chicago. I go up, and I proceed to eat shit for 3.5 minutes. All I get was the same as the rappers. They gave me the same amount of time as the rappers.
Right.
And I did my time. And they booed. They booed me fucking heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And then the boos turned into them ignoring me. Like once they realized that I wasn't going to leave, they just ignored me and went about their evening like I wasn't up there.
Right.
And then Foolish goes back up and he takes the mic. And I go and sit back down by the DJ booth.
Right.
And Foolish looks back at me from the and it wasn't even a stage. It was just like a dance floor. You've been in Coco's.
Right.
It's just like a flat dance floor.
Uh-huh. I'm aware.
Nigga looks back at me after I just bombed. I drove 4 hours and waited 3 hours to
Right.
bomb. And he just looks at me and goes, I respect it. Like
That's
you just
great.
hit this moment of sobriety where you just go,
Right.
you know what? I respect it.
Well, Roy, I respect you, and I got a little surprise for you because I'm just gonna do it. TJ Chapman's in the building. TJ.
Oh,
What up?
So Roy, what you gotta understand, Mr. Roy Wood Jr., is this is my brother from another mother right here.
Shit.
So TJ, what you don't understand is Roy was just literally pouring love on you like rain on a Prince concert. And I felt it was only right. It was only right with everything that's going on in this world that you should hear the flowers that this man gave you, and you should be here during our show so that you could understand what this man
I told him
shared.
some of this. I told him some of this shit in front of Roscoe's when he was in town for the BET Awards. Because I hadn't seen him in like 10, 15 years, man.
Yeah.
But
Meanwhile, TJ is probably helping people right now with syringes, fucking giving out fucking
he got all the
vaccinations with that. Yeah,
He in the
'cause he got a
hood
mask
giving
on,
out
yeah.
good vaccines.
He's got them
TJ,
good.
I just
He
want-
got that Moderna. He got that Johnson and Johnson
He
shit.
got Johnson and Moderna. Bro, there isn't anybody in music, bro, that doesn't owe some level of their growth to you.
Yep.
And the fingerprint that you have on hip hop, man, is something that, in my opinion, is understated. And we love you.
Thank you, brother.
And when I tell you the yes that you gave me on letting me put them fucking prank call CDs and them grab bags at that fucking record pool,
Hey, shit, hold on.
that shit changed everything, bro. It changed everything. Like, you've done more, not just for artists, but for producers and fucking engineers and just my little unfunny ass at the time, man. And it's just something that I think more people need to know and celebrate about. We're going to let you get back to it, man. Keep holding it down, man.
Yeah, I'm running late. Hey, I appreciate the love. Appreciate you, Serch. Appreciate you, Roy. Congrats on all the success, dog. I love it. When I see your name, when I hear about you, anything, I love it, dog.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, brother.
Love you, TJ.
All right, till next time, man. All right,
Yes,
love
sir.
y'all too, man. Take it easy.
Anyway, I had to.
Quiet beats
I didn't.
right
First
there,
of all, I
brother.
didn't realize he was in like a Dunkin' Donuts marathon, 7-Eleven, Chuck E. Cheese, trying to get food for the crew on the way to an Auburn show. But I had to hit you with that real quick because I just
Man, that's a pleasant surprise, bro. That's a
yeah,
real
of course,
pleasant
man.
surprise,
No,
That's a good man.
he's a good dude. How was the transition from, obviously being, it's not even right to say hip hop comedian, but the respect that you got from the DJ Dramas, from the TIs, from the Jeezys, all those guys, how did that kind of start to elevate to the point that you got to the Trevor Noah level, and how did you guys connect?
So Trevor, I left radio in so I had a gap in my radio run From '01 to '07, I worked my way up to co-host, and then there was a 3-year run where I was just kind of like fourth chair. I'm here, I'm not. I'm in LA. I'm working more gigs. I'm starting to get more TV credits and stuff, so I'm making more money on the road. And then I came back in 2010 to host the morning show, and that gave me a lot more. The first thing it exposed is that I'm not a good leader, or I wasn't a good leader. That was something I need to work on, like, because I never had to run a staff before. I never had people that answered to me.
Facts.
So
I had the same problem with my show. Sorry.
Communicating. Yeah, it's a tough. And it ain't nothing that could prepare you for it, but just doing it, And so I leave and I get to LA. I do the TV chasing and auditions and all of that stuff. I really ain't hitting shit. I book a sitcom for 3 years on TBS called Sullivan and Son. I come off of that sitcom and I'm doing ESPN stuff, like sports.
Right,
Nation,
because
his and hers.
Right, because I know how much you love Stuart Scott, right?
Yeah, so I was like, they letting comedians come on. This was at the beginning of them really letting comedians come on a regular basis.
Right, because Jamel Hill was doing a lot of that too, right? His and hers, right?
Afternoon joint, his and hers. Bomani had a situation, so they were letting me, they were letting me jump on shit. Fucking Trevor Noah hits up Neil Brennan, the co-creator Chappelle's show.
I just had him on. I just had him on this show a little while ago.
Amazing. So Neil throws my name to Trevor, which is enough to get me the audition. And the audition structurally is no different than what we've been doing at ESPN. And so,
what does that mean? What does that mean? It's no different.
Sports and politics are the same in terms of how to make it funny, because it is a topic that everyone takes very serious. You have people on both sides of it, and you have a bunch of people you're trying not to piss off on the corporate side. Like at ESPN, right? As a comedian, you have to make a joke that is not against the integrity of the sport. You cannot insult either fan base. Yet somehow you have to figure out a way to make both fan bases laugh at that joke. And it's a hard needle to thread. I would even argue that sports is harder to make funny than politics. That's why
Facts.
You don't see a lot of comedy, sports, scripted. Like, it's hard. And if it is, it's like Ballers, where it has to happen away from the field, because the actual act of playing the sport is hard to fucking make funny on a regular basis. So I get the audition for Daily Show, and politics, you got people on each side that's really serious about the thing. And then you're trying to figure out a way to say it, because corporate they gonna shut down the fucking joke. So it was figuring out, what my angle is on this thing that everybody already has an opinion on, and find the new angle on it. And that was the creative muscle that I've been working for 2 years at ESPN, because I'm on a panel at ESPN with 3 fucking pros who didn't analyze this from every possible professional structured angle. So I got to find the chaos angle. So mentally, my brain was already working from a place of, what is the thing about this that no one else is talking about? And if you identify that, then you're going to find something funny and ironic. And so, to a large part, that's what you have to do with the Daily Show. It's 9, 10 motherfucking shows covering the same Trump this, Trump that, Biden this, Biden that. So what's your angle on it? What are you going to say that not only that no other show can say, but what can you say that Trevor wouldn't say? So that's the thing.
And you were able to obviously hit that out the park. One of the things that I recognized early on when Trevor took over the Daily Show was he was, to put it in sports analogy that hopefully you might respect, He was Greg Anthony at the foul line against the Bulls.
All the pressure in the world.
And he didn't want none of that smoke. And that's why he clanked them two. You could see the look in Greg Anthony's face with 3 seconds. And I love Greg Anthony. And I'm a diehard Knick fan, but I looked over to my father and I'm like, he's going to clank both of these. I remember looking in Trevor's face that first week and he was not comfortable. It seemed like he was being groomed for greatness, but he didn't walk into the room prepared for that seat. But it also appeared to me, and again, I'm an outsider. I'm not a TV guy, but I love the show. And I want to say that I love you guys.
Thank you.
You had a different energy, bro. There was a different swagger to you, even on the first bit you and him ever did. And I don't remember what it was, but I remember specifically that he was purposely looking over your television, whether it was left or right shoulder, to read those cue cards. And your attitude with him was, come on, man. I mean, look. And then the whole thing is a blah, blah, blah. And he was like, but Roy, that you could see the head pivot. And I remember I said to my wife, I said, man, this is a little uncomfortable. You had worked. And now that I've heard your story and also read your story, worked. And, again, the emotion that you tell the story of you living in your car, those feelings are at the surface. Those are real. Like, you're not playing. Was there a moment in those first 30 or 60 days with Trevor at the helm of The Daily Show where you were a little concerned whether he was going to have the legs to do it?
No, I think the perspective is different on my side because, number one, I could be more carefree because I'm not the host. I'm playing with house money. So my ideology when I walked out there, no matter what, the articles in the morning are going to be about him. So my job is to nail my part. Do your part. Was it that Bill Belichick shit? Just do your job. My job is to come out for 4 minutes. Pop, 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 pop. Rest of this shit is out of my control. Good luck to everybody else. I never doubted it because Trevor's perspective, what I knew he was walking into, and he was aware of this too. You know what it's like? It's like when the new nigga take over a radio in a market and he's replacing the host that everybody loved. When you come into a market, which I'm sure when you came into Detroit, it was, motherfucker, what happened to the other motherfucker? Why is this motherfucker the new motherfucker? So it's a lot of that energy, and it's almost like our comedy palettes have to be readjusted because you're wanting him to do a version of John, but he has to do his version of Trevor, and that it takes a while to learn people and figure them out. So for me, I was never nervous about the transition because I had seen this happen in radio repeatedly. Year after year, I was a part of a morning show where they would cycle in a new host, or the midday guy would get fired, and they would replace him with somebody that the city didn't approve of, and motherfuckers would bitch for a year, and then they loved him, and then when that person got replaced, they would bitch for another year about the shit. When I came in Birmingham, and I replaced Ricky Smiley.
Wow.
I was the next person in the chair. Let me tell you what I was dealing with. Tell you what I was dealing with.
Because you and I have very similar stories. I'm going to tell you my story. You tell me your story. We're going to go bar for bar on this. Go ahead. Ricky Smiley, those are big shoes.
It's unprecedented shoes at the time. Unprecedented shoes. It's BET's Comic View. Ricky Smiley, and I've said this before, and people always ask the question, who influenced you to do the comedy? You got your Mount Rushmore. But the person who influenced me the most was Ricky Smiley because he was the first person that I ever saw from Alabama on cable. I saw Rick, and I was like, oh, I can do it too. This nigga from the North, he from Kingston, I'm from West End. If a nigga from Kingston can get on BET, well, there's hope for me. So seeing him was confirmation. But because Ricky was first, that hip hop station that Ricky started on, 95.7 Jams, which is still there, Ricky was the first comedian the first year that when Bush broke up all the radio stations with the monopoly shit. And you used to have, Birmingham was one of those markets that had the black station that played R&B and jazz till noon. Then they would play slow jams and old school till noon, R&B in the afternoon, and then it would turn hip hop around 5:30 to 9 p.m. Then it's slow jams. So you telling me there's a station that just only does rap? Oh my fucking God. And he's doing prank calls. He's killing it. We used to stay on the school bus to listen to this nigga till the tardy bell. The bus driver would leave the radio on the fucking bus, and we would sit there like skip breakfast inside to listen to Ricky Smiley, bro. Ricky leaves to go to Dallas to start what would eventually become the syndicated behemoth that he is today. I'm the next nigga in the chair. The fucking hate calls. And I appreciate it now, but I didn't at the time. But I had a host, my boss, my man Sammy Mack, aka Buck Wild. Sammy would play the fucking calls, bro. These niggas is calling in between songs saying that nigga ain't funny. Get that nigga the fuck out of here. And he would play the fucking calls. And Sammy looked at that shit like, well, this is the truth. This is what's happening. We have to reflect what the streets are saying.
Like what the community is saying.
You can't lie to the people. And if anything, it's gonna either make you better or you gonna get gone. And that's what he fucking. And this is after I lied my way to get on the radio. I'll tell you that story after you tell me your story. So 3 months later, I do Showtime at the Apollo. It's my first television credit. I don't get booed, but I don't do well. It was I.
Yeah, it was crickets. If you get crickets in the Apollo, that's a polite everywhere else around the world. Crickets in the Apollo.
I'm one joke from getting the Sandman. And I bailed. I was supposed to do 3 minutes. I did 2 minutes, 38 seconds. I had another joke, but I knew if I did it, I was going to get booed. I didn't want to get booed, so I just bailed.
Smart. Yeah.
Monday morning, we're back on the air. The Apollo airs that Sunday night. Monday morning, somebody calls in, and he goes, hey, man, I want to talk to Wood. I go, what's up? Hey, man, saw you on the Apollo last night, and I just want to tell you how disappointed I am in you as somebody from Birmingham. You let the city down, my nigga. You went on that motherfucking TV, and you ain't rep Alabama. You ain't put on, man. They ain't putting us on like that. So when somebody from the crib get on, my nigga, you got to rip that shit, and you ain't rip. That shit was trash. Until you funny, stop saying you from Birmingham. Tell niggas you from Montgomery. And Buck Wild played the call.
Ooh.
Played it. But here's what it taught me, though.
Yeah.
What it taught me was the importance of you've got to come hard every night. And it's going to take people time, but they'll figure out your style of comedy if you keep the true north. Just don't let it shake you. It never shook me. And I've been able to build. Been able to build to a point where Comedy Central gave me a sitcom, and I took that shit back to Birmingham to shoot the pilot, to bring jobs back to the crib. So that's where you take what Ricky Smiley did. Ricky Smiley was on TV showing niggas you could be on cable. Then the elevation is to bring fucking cable to Birmingham.
That's exactly right. So I need to hear how you lie. How did you lie to get on the radio? Like, how did you do that? What was the lie? What was the big lie? How dare you, sir? How dare you lie? Your mama should be ashamed of you.
What you gonna do? Not hire me? All you gonna do is not hire me. I already don't work here, so who gives a fuck? Ricky leaves, and I know that the morning show hosts the Black Night at the Comedy Club. So I go to the morning show with my degree. Hey, man, can I be an intern? They go, we ain't looking for no comedians right now. Ain't nobody. We need to let the Ricky thing cool off, and then we'll look. I go, man, I'm funny, man. Please just fucking put me on. Nah, man. I go, all right, tell you what. I know y'all hosting on Friday night for D.L. Hughley. If I'm on the show and you see me rip, then you got to let me intern. And Buck Wild said, cool. So I go down to the comedy club and I go, hey, I just got hired at 95.7. They say they want me to open for D.L. Hughley. So just make sure I get 5 minutes. And the comedy club said, cool. So on Friday night, all I got to do is keep Buck Wild away from the fucking club owner so that neither one knows that I fucking then run the flim flam on them. I go out, I do 5 minutes in front of DL, and it's just one of those nights where just everything was fucking magic, bro. Every joke, every tag, every facial expression, it just fucking hit. I'm Roy Wood Jr., that's my time. And I walk off stage, and Sammy Mack, my dog Buck Wild, is standing right there. And he shook my hand and said, see you Monday morning, bring donuts. And that's how I got started in radio.
So I love the analogy of the call, because when I got to WJLB, it was the trifecta of greasy for me. Trifecta, strike one, Mason was a hero in the city. Mason was the voice of the Pistons. Mason had the largest walk on Detroit. Mason unified the city. And when Mason left JLB, it was ugly. He went to the competitor. Competitor went to number one. JLB was not number one ever again. Strike two. Big Tigger from BET was the host of the morning show at JLB. Big Tigger, Rap City. Big Tigger, who'd come into the city and go to All Stars. Yeah.
This is peak Tigger, yeah.
Yeah, 2003. This is Big Tigger, Rap City. This is Big Tigger, PGC. This is Big Tigger, Syndicated. This is Big Tigger spending 10 racks at All Stars on Saturday and Sunday, showing up Monday. You know, decides that he don't want to be in Detroit anymore and wants to do the show from New York. And the city wasn't feeling him. And even though he was there for 3 years, never got him number one. So
Detroit is a very authentic market where it's all about their own. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm in Norfolk, and at the time my program director is going to go to Detroit. And he had told me, he's like, man, I love what you do on Saturdays. You treat it like a morning show. And that's what I did. And for my wife to agree to allow me to work 5 days a week as a radio promo guy, working the Mickey Johnsons of the world, to then go on the weekends and basically work for 7 days a week and she not see me. The only way she was going to let me get 2 years to do that was at the end of 2 years, my 2-year contract, I need to have a morning show in a major market. And my strength, brother, was that I knew Doc Winter. I knew all the players because I was a radio promo guy. And this goes back to early in my career, brother, because when I was coming up in third base, Wes Johnson, who was the promo guy, was like, look, a bunch of crackers like y'all are going to get on black radio and bump some black man off a black music playlist. Y'all better know them programmers forward and backwards. And I studied. No Google, no internet. I went to the New York Public Library and I learned the difference between a Helen Little and Steve Hegwood and Doc went up and down, sideways. So when 10 years later, everybody in programming knows me, loves me, all that. And I got a big personality anyway, so it was only natural that, you know, somebody would call me and say, hey, do radio. So I go to Detroit and they're doing these thing called a Star Search, right? It's 2 weeks and they're flying everybody in. Everybody who didn't have a job, they're flying in. All this big talent.
Like 2-day shifts or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They put me up in the Ponce train. I'll never forget this because I went up to the Ponce train thinking it's a beautiful hotel. Lights don't work in the hallway. Door don't have a lock on it. There's things crawling on the floor that I don't know what they are.
Of course.
I slept in my clothes. I mean, it was, but I went out to a club because KJ Holiday, may he rest in peace, the program director, took me around. And we went to this one beautiful club. And I'll never forget this. We went in, beautiful girls. And they were all by themselves. and these dudes are drinking, and none of these girls are getting any attention. And I mean, just all beautiful women. And I see on the dance floor, there's this ruckus. Dudes waving money, throwing money. And I'm like, this ain't a strip club. Is it like, is the back a strip club? Like, is this some? But they're throwing money and the music's bumping. And I'm like, and I'm trying to get through the crowd. And a couple of people recognize me. Oh, that's MC Serch. What up, player? Right. I get to and all these dudes. And I'm not talking about a couple of dudes, Roy. I'm talking about like 30 dudes deep are surrounding the biggest girl I ever saw in a 1C jumpsuit I ever seen in my life. She's easy 400. She's wearing a catsuit, white catsuit with a belt. And the only reason she got a belt, it's to hold her beeper and her phone, her clip phone. Detroit. And these dudes are throwing money at her. Detroit and I just tap the dude next to me, and he got his brown and he got his bleezy. He got his blunt in his hand. I said, yo, what's going on? He said, yo, man, I'm trying to fuck that bitch. And I said, but there are all these beautiful girls over. Like, why? He's like, yo, you don't know about fat bitches in Detroit. They pay your bills. They take care of you. Yo, you want a fat bitch in the winter month, right? Da, da, da. All right. So I get to the chair, and my producer says, okay, this is how the show runs. 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., you know, we kind of keep it clean. A lot of the parents taking their kids to school. So this is how we run it. So we have a elementary school shout out. We want that shout out, da, 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 da. 7 to 8, we open it up a little. That's more prime time. So we talk about more of the topics. 8 to 9, right? Relationship talk and all this. 8 to 9, you know the run-ins, right?
Celebrity gossip.
Right. Celebrity gossip. 9 to 10, you know, we're kind of tuning out so we can get a little more familiar. Let's talk more music, blah, blah, blah. Great. Crack the mic. WJLB, it's MC Serch, Searching the AM, Coco and Foolish. Hey, I got a question. I was out last night with y'all, and I was hanging out with y'all at this club. Shout out to the club, Royal Oak. Yo, so I go through the club, man. Beautiful women all hanging out, man. But I see about
6 a.m.
6 a.m., 6:02. A lot of dudes hanging out, man. 30 deep, surrounding this chick. She got a white catsuit on. She got a belt on. The only reason she got a belt on is to keep on a beeper and a thing. Dudes are throwing money at her. So, Troy, I got to ask you, does WJLB stand for We Just Love Fat Bitches? Call me, 1333, da-da-da-da-da.
Oh.
Right? And Foolish next to me goes, here we go. And the phones went crazy. Now, Coco is next to me, and she falls out. Why? Because she's 6'5", 400, right?
Yeah.
Falls out. Phone lines get hot. Hey, can I talk to that dude? Yeah. Hey, this Searching AM. Who this? Out of style from Royal Oak. Royal Oak? What's cracking, people? Hey, yo, I'll tell you about a fat bitch. I scooped up a fat bitch at fucking Fireside last night, man. That girl paid my bills out of that. Oh, good looking player. Baba. Hey, night. And dude, it went like this for 4 hours. 4 hours. Phones were hot.
For 4 hours.
I couldn't even stop it if I wanted to. The train had left the building, and I couldn't stop it. Girls were calling. Coco, you know I'm a fat bitch. I can't even find my thong in the morning. I love it. I will blow a dude in his car. Dude, it was radio, on.
Bro.
When I left this, Roy, no hand to the man. When I left the city, it went on for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 20. Every jock. Where's the dude who talked about the fat bitches? Chris Kelly, may she rest in peace. Bushman. It kept going. They had no choice but to hire me, right? They give me a big contract. I go down. Totally unprepared. You know, I'm an independent entrepreneur my whole life. You know, Illmatic, music, clothing. I mean, but I signed my contract thinking and they're like, yo, you signed on Thursday, you start on Monday. And I got to leave my wife and the 3 kids. I pack up a car, I boogie into the city. I'm on. And the first day I'm on, this is now 4 months after this whole thing. First day I'm on. First call I get. WJLB, Searching AM, who's this? This is Corey. That's right, it's Corey. Corey from Royal Oak. Royal Oak? Corey, what's going on? Hey, man. They should fire you right now. You should just quit. Coco and Foolish, this should be their show. Ain't nobody need you here. You ain't even from Detroit. Nobody even asked for you to be here. Coco and Foolish ain't never got no billboard. Why you got billboards all through the city? I said, Corey, I'll tell you what. You give me 1 year. You give me 1 year. And if I don't deserve this chair, you call me back in 1 year and I'll quit. You know why? Because I'm a millionaire, B. I don't need this job. I'm taking this job because I want to be here. I love the D. I love the East Side. I love the West Side. You can find me on Gratiot. You can find me on Firestone. You can find me in Zubor. I love this city. Get out of here. Beat it. Click. Right? And for the first 90, 100 days, I just watched. Just sat back, watched the show, did what I had to do. But in that first year, we had a kid call up who was going to kill himself live on the air that we talked off having a gun in his mouth. For 5 hours, we talked him off of, got a citation. These kids pulled this guy out of a burning oil tanker. We got him on the show the next day. Ludacris gave them college scholarships for 4 years, free ride. It was the most amazing year. You couldn't have asked for anything better. And 1 year, my 1 year anniversary, David Banner came and performed at my concert. This dude, Corey, called me and said, man, you were right. City deserves you. And we were number one 6 months for the first time in 16 years. Since Mason had left, we were number one again. When I left unceremoniously, I got fired because I self-destructed. I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. I didn't realize the mental fortitude it took. When I left, I didn't get the fanfare. I was fired behind the scenes, all of that.
Yeah, the low
I was
key,
yeah.
Key card don't work type shit.
Key card, no. And it was terrible. But that dude saw me in Firestone. I was at just having a meal. And he said, yo, city ain't never going to be the same without you, Playboy. I'm Corey. I'm the guy who called you 3 years ago. They're never going to have radio like that, ever like that again. And 3 years later, I went to the competitor, did afternoons for a little bit. But if you ever watch the Fox special on Hip Hop Undercover with Trick and Big U and Deb Antony and Bimmy, they talk about Detroit no-fly zone and how Trick made it a no-fly zone with the whole thing with Rick Ross.
Can't come.
He talked about that on my Saturday night show in Detroit. And the reason he talked about it and the reason he created Detroit no-fly zone is he found out that Detroit City, the song that he did with Eminem, everywhere outside of Detroit, they were playing Eminem's verse twice and not playing Trick's verse at all. Wow. And he spazzed out. And he said, you know what? I'm locking the city down. Detroit is a no-fly zone. You ain't going to play me. You ain't going to disrespect me and then come into the city and take our resources. So when you watch...
That's fair.
When you watch Hip Hop Undercover, they only show that part. They don't talk about the other part. But dude, I had the greatest time in radio, and it really, a lot like you, were very similar in the fact that we walked into shoes, big shoes, but the difference is, it's not the shoes, but it's how you fill the shoes, and you relied on your talent. And you relied on the fact that you knew you had the talent.
And that's why I was never worried about Trevor Noah, in spite of what the streets said.
And the streets were saying a lot, bro. They were saying a lot.
And you're foreign, and you ain't Jon Stewart, and you black. Because, like, black people's like, all right, he's black. Fuck, he ain't American black. All right, we'll give him some time. We'll see. But...
And you made some jokes about that. I love that too. You always there were jokes at least twice a week where you would lean on that. You were like, no, Trevor, you don't really understand that. But I used to love, I can't remember the specific jokes.
It used to call him African at the top of the set. What's up, African? Because you have to reflect what people are saying.
Right.
You cannot ignore that. That's Buck Wild playing back them calls of people hating on me. So, no, I mean, it was... There was never a doubt. I'm like, if this brother's confident, because again, like you, he already had bread. Folks forget, Trevor was playing fucking stadiums everywhere but the States at the time. he's new to us, so we gonna play him like he's fucking weak. But the dude had a plan, and I trusted the plan, and he stayed steady the course. And now I don't think there's a way to even imagine the show without him, especially at the moment, the intersection where race and politics started happening once he took over. You know what I'm saying? And him green-lighting me going out the door and covering a lot of heavy black shit, bro, that I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I wasn't at the Daily Show under Jon Stewart, so I can't speak to that. But I'm just thankful that he was in the chair and he understood, hey, man, look, they say that black people don't care about black-on-black crime. It's a group on the south side of Chicago that walks the streets and intervenes with local crews to the point that the police don't even like them half the time because they know more than the police about who did stuff. And they just walking around trying to stop the violence. Can I take a camera to the south side and walk with these people? We'll find the jokes. We'll make it tasteful. The jokes won't be on the pain. It'll be on the solution. That's how you navigate around treacherous topics, you know?
I remember that piece that you did. It was funny as hell.
Bro, he didn't double clutch. It wasn't no questions about, well, I don't know. And, should we? And he was like, cool, go do it. Hey, man, do you mind if I go to the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March and speak to somebody from the Nation of Islam about what exactly it is Black American needs and blah, 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 blah? Cool. Here's a plane ticket. Here's a cameraman. Go get
that
the
was
story.
a great.
Find the jokes.
Listen, that was a. I so love what you do on that show because your perspective is honest to who the people are that watch it.
There ain't another show that's gonna let me pull up to something that black and just walk around with cameras and try to get some truth. And all we were trying to do with that piece was show the perception, because you remember the 20th anniversary of Million Man, the motto was justice or else. Justice or else. That's all black folks saying. Hey, it's time for justice. And the way white America interpreted the or else was so different from the way black people interpreted it. And that's all I was trying to show. It's like, what the fuck are y'all scared of? You hear or else, and then you, the niggers are rising. No, we're not. That's not even what so it's about how you read people and how you choose to carry their energy, the energy that you choose to take from something based on presumptions instead of sitting back and listening and looking at facts. And, you know, I got to give that African credit, man. he let me, you know what I'm saying? He lets me run amok, bro.
Yeah.
Doing wild shit. But also speaking to stuff that at the same time, you know, is very serious issues. So, you know, it's been a good run, you know, these last 6 years or so.
What is some of your newfound notoriety brought you that surprises you?
The thing that's the weirdest is people will come up. So before Daily Show, cats will come up and say, you know, I think you're funny, or I respect the pranks, or, you know, whatever. And now people will come up and say thank you, which is a weird compliment, because I don't know how because in my mind, I'm still these jokes, man. I'm just making jokes. And if somewhere in there you learn a little bit about an issue, or you see, you know, what's really going on, you know, in some of these neighborhoods, then cool. But at the end of the day, you know, when people say thank you, it's because they feel like what you are doing has really affected them in a way beyond laughter. You know, and that's probably because I don't know how to take that. Like, thank you so much. You're welcome, motherfucker. I changed your life. Like, I can't, you know, I don't know how to carry that. You know, we had I was in Birmingham last summer, you know, when things started popping off with a lot of the unrest, not the George Floyd protests, but the unrest that was happening at night with folks that was just coming in to cause the bullshit. There was a black optometrist in Birmingham who had her storefront smashed in, and you know, she's been in the civil rights district, you know, 40 years almost. And so, you know, me and a bunch of other locals, you know, Birmingham Twitter, that was crazy. is that the majority of people I follow on Twitter are from Birmingham because of all my time on Birmingham radio. And so I'd say 2/3 of the people I follow on Twitter, it's just Alabama people. So we start going back and forth. It's 2 a.m. and it's like a live shot of people trashing stuff in downtown Birmingham. And we going back and forth. Yo, we gonna pull up. We're gonna pull up at 8 a.m. Everybody get a trash can and a dustpan. And we're gonna pull up and we're gonna fix this lady's, we're gonna tighten her up. And we went down there, and then I ended up going back a couple of weeks later and just doing a story with her. Just on, because the way they try to spin shit, man, they try to spin it like every single black business owner is angry and that don't you tear up. That's not how you protest. But there was some people that they didn't like it. They didn't like having a shit bashed in. But there was part of them that understood it, and there was part of them that had a level of love in spite of all that was going on. And I thought it was important to show that. So I hit the African. Hey, man, I know it's COVID, and I don't want nobody to, you ain't going to catch COVID, but you mind if I do a Zoom chat with this black lady about black businesses getting torn up and the uplifting spirit and showing how, some white folks done gave her a better place to have her. And he was like, cool. And so, that was the promise that Trevor made me before I took the job. I want you to do what you already do. I don't want you to change anything. I want you to do it over here. That's all I tried to do, man.
And you've done.
That's what I'm trying to do, is find a different angle on something. I don't want to just skate through on cream puff shit. Let's talk about music and how music relates to the national anthem and why black people don't stand for it. Let's talk about the Confederate flag. Let's talk about why, as a black man, I need a receipt in a bag every time I leave a store, like some fucking freedom papers, so that security don't, you know what I'm saying? So he understood the type of, he knew what the fuck what I'm interested in. And, and true to his word, he's let me do that.
I want to test your improv chops a little bit. I'm going to throw some names at you, and let's see where you go with it. All right.
All
right. Matt Gaetz.
Asshole.
And yet, very funny. Incredibly funny, that line that you just made. I'm laughing
Funny
deep
face.
inside.
Funny face. I was thinking about saying something else, but I guess legally you can't call him a pervert.
Well, alleged. You can say alleged.
Yeah. I guess legally covers that too.
I just think that
it's definitely some funny business. They're tracking Venmos on his ass. When the Fed's looking at the Venmos, you're in trouble.
The thing that's so funny,
the money. Oh yeah.
The funny thing is that, people talk about QAnon, right? And here's a perfect identification of a QAnon representative, and the Republicans ain't saying shit.
Quiet, unless it fits your agenda. Be quiet.
Exactly right. All right, here's another one. Just like I said, it's just popping into my head. The Knicks. Because now you live in New York now, right? I would assume.
Yeah, I live in New York, but I grew up a Hornets fan because that was the expansion team that came on TV a little bit more.
Yeah.
In Birmingham, it's easy to go, oh yeah, I like the Hawks, but I don't know. By the time I was old enough to start watching basketball, I think the Hornets came in 87, 88 maybe.
Yep.
And when they came in, that was like right around when I was like, oh, basketball. And it was Larry Johnson and the Grandmama. And he was on
and he had the hot
Family
sneakers
Matters.
too. He had the hot ass sneakers too.
Reebok pumps, bitch.
Woo!
So how could you not be a fan of Grandmama? I mean,
everybody liked Grandma.
On TV a lot, but
nobody likes the Pistons. Nobody liked them. But I mean, do you watch basketball more than you did before, or are you so busy that sports now is not a part of your?
I am baseball and football. That's my 1A and 1B.
Oh, really? Baseball.
Basketball I appreciate, but I like straight up, I couldn't name you the starting five of the Hornets right now. Like, I could say I'm a fan. If you ask me to produce a shirt, I got a half zip that I've owned for 6 years and nothing else. But if you ask me about the Cubs or the Dolphins, I could name you niggas in their farm system. I can name you the Cubs starting lineup from 1992 on some weird Rain Man shit. Like,
let me tell you something. One of my favorite moments is my first time I ever went to Wrigley. At third base, we're playing 1991. Pop Goes the Weasel. We're on our Pop Goes the Weasel tour. Get invited. Mark Grace hits his first home run as a rookie. I'm sitting there right behind the home plate, and I get called by Rick Sutcliffe's son. He's like, "Yo, come back here." And Rick Sutcliffe hands me a ball signed by the team. 91 Cubs, 7 All-Stars on that. Andre Dawson, Rick Sutcliffe, the 7 on
Dwight Smith, Walton.
Yep. 7 Hall of Famers though, but there's 7 Hall of Famers on that team.
Joe Girardi, or maybe it was Damon Berryhill that was catching. I ain't finna bore
Joe Girardi
baseball name.
But talk to me about the Cubs winning the series. Where were you when that happened?
I was there.
Get out of here. Fuck out of here.
Game 7. Google it.
I don't need to Google it. I'll take your word for it.
Google Roy Wood Jr. Cubs World Series or some shit, and there's a picture of me in the stands with a big ass sign, "Losers No More."
Have you ever seen the Danny Clinch documentary about Game 7 that he did with Pearl Jam and Eddie Vedder?
No.
Danny Clinch is a personal friend of mine. Shot Nas, shot Tupac. I mean, he didn't shoot Tupac, but he photographed Tupac. Right. Yeah. He did an amazing documentary on Eddie Vedder, who's a lifelong Cubs fan as well. And obviously, they did the concert in Wrigley on Game 7. As a Cubs fan, I strongly recommend that you watch that series. Last but not least.
The only thing I've ever spent money on, bro, was that playoff ticket. It's like, I don't wear jewelry. I don't buy a lot of sneakers. I'm never more than $200 for a pair of sneakers. I had a pair of LeBrons for my second special that cost me a stack, and I was furious when I pressed fucking send order. I was furious.
I'm a sneakerhead, so me and my partners are the original sneakerheads. So I don't pay for sneakers.
Man, it's too addictive. You and Questlove can have that shit.
And we do.
I buy 3 pairs, 1 to wear, 1 to trade, 1 for the collect. I'm like, shoes is for wearing. If you give me that shit, I'm gonna put it on.
I buy 2 pairs, 1 to rock and 1 to wear twice and put on ice.
See, I can't do that. I don't even know where my money goes. Probably because I got a girl and a kid. It probably goes to them half the time. But that Game 7, I had to do that one. That's literally once in your lifetime.
Hey, trust me, I get it, because I remember, watching that game. Well, obviously, I have another heartbreaking moment, which is, the Dark Knight not wanting to leave the 9th inning and costing my Mets a trip to the World Series. So fuck your Cubs and fuck Wrigley and fuck that C on your head, player. But
Alonso looking good though.
Listen, we don't want to talk too early, because trust me, if those guys make it 30 games in healthy, I'll be praying to everything, anything and everything. Brother, I can't thank you. I can't thank you enough. Your podcast is incredible. Bro. Please tell everybody the podcast. Tell them when they can expect new episodes. Talk to them.
We every Wednesday, bro. Roy's Job Fair. All we doing is talking shit about old jobs and putting people on the jobs that's hiring. That's it.
Amazing.
We're laughing about employment.
It's a great podcast, and I strongly suggest. In fact, hold on. Let me just create a banner real quick so I can do, Roy's Job. What is that? ROY Jobs. Job Fair.
Roy's Job Fair. That's it.
Is Z or S? Roy's.
S. Yeah, Roy's.
Roy's Job Fair. We're gonna put the banner up right now. Man, there it is. Roy's Job Fair. So
Put an
please,
@ sign in front of it or put a @gmail.com behind it. Hit me, man. Be a part of the show.
please, man, please make sure you are a part of that show. Man, I am so thankful that I got to talk to you. When I read about TJ, when I read about your experience, I had to hit you up and DM you, because when I started to do the research and realized how interwoven we were, like it was only the Most High that would have to bring us together on this level. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be in New York the 27th with Big Daddy Kane. I'm going to be in New York taking him around for his podcast.
Yes,
We
sir.
got to get together. Let's get up and let's break bread.
You got
All
the
right?
number, pimp.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Roy Wood Jr. is in the building and now leaving the building. I want to thank all of y'all for being a part of this. Please make sure, if you like the show, subscribe. YouTube channel, the Big Daddy Kane podcast. Everything you want to know about Kane. It's called Did I Ever Tell You the One About? Big Daddy Kane will be on Apple starting on April 26th. Peace and love, y'all. We out.